Hi, my name is Benny Johnson. As some of you know, I've been struggling with addiction. However, I decided to change my life and went into recovery. I've started this podcast 90 Days Clean, and I want to take you along in my journey. What does lie ahead of me? Let me be frank, I do not know. Will I ever drink again? I do not know. This is how Stairway to Redemption was born. It is my search for answer in a real-time process of what is going to work for me. It is then my aspiration to help you figure out what's going to work for you. It is our journey together. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Stairway to Redemption. This week I have a recurrent guest. You might have heard her, Alex, in the episode Sobriety. I forgot which number it was, but check it out. She was in company of the second half of that duo, Bridget. That we say hi to. Hi, Bridget.
Hi, Bridget.
Well, Alex is back on the pod, and this time we're going to talk about her sobriety, but also she's going to guide us through the NA beverage space, like the
Yeah.
sober career space. Since Alex is the GM of Spirited Away, which is a non-alcoholic bottle shop in New York, in Nolita. So yeah, guys, I give you Alex. Alex, how you doing?
Hey. Oh man, I'm really good. Thank you, Benny.
Good. So let's start with the state of the man you dress. What's happening with you in the world, or especially after we in April, but
Oh my God.
how was dry January for
Oh my
tell me.
God. It was a blur. It
Yeah.
was crazy. It was our busiest and biggest dry January ever. Spirited Away. Usually, I can tell how the rest of the country's doing with non-alc by the way Spirited Away is doing, because we're in downtown New York City, we have a really diverse customer base. We're busy and fairly well known. So, yeah, we were like 50% busier. On New Year's Eve was our biggest sales day in the last 5 years.
Wow, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Not even like the day after.
No, isn't that funny? It was a
Yeah.
lot of people who were like, can I get non-alc champagne for the
Yeah.
toast? And we
Oh,
were actually dead on New Year's Day.
really?
I think everyone was still in regret phase.
That's very interesting. That's going to tell us more about where the wave is going, or where the culture is shifting to.
Yes.
But yeah, what else? What else is new with you?
Yeah, what else? So I mean, I think since last time I talked to you, I started a new job. I was always kind of doing sales of pet food in the background, but I quit that to do all non-alc all the time. So now I'm still general managing Spirited Away, but I also I represent a specific non-alcoholic spirit brand. They're from the UK.
Okay.
And they have a team over here. It's called Pentire.
Okay. I've heard of that.
definitely forced you to try it. We've got a couple cans and then like
maybe,
3
yeah.
bottles. And it's really nice, but it's really interesting because I work as both buyer and seller now. And I'm working every day approaching bars and restaurants around New York City to take on non-alcoholic adult beverages.
So you have like the double insight of like both ways.
You
from
could say
buyers,
that.
yeah.
I also have double the trouble, man. It's like I used to be an actor, right? I still am. And one of the reasons I stopped was because there's a lot of rejection. And it wasn't without my sobriety figured out, I couldn't really handle it.
Yeah.
And it's like that with the sale.
Okay.
It's should I pause?
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
New York City, baby.
Yeah, New York City, we're outside, by the way.
We're in beautiful Elizabeth Street Garden. I'm actually tripping out because I would never, it's crazy to me that I'm just like downtown New York City talking about sobriety in this beautiful setting with a friend I would have never had, like life beyond my wildest dreams for sure. But anyway, yeah, it's crazy because it's Spirited Away. Everybody comes in already curious.
Okay.
Like people are kind of ready to at least learn and buy and ask questions. But when I walk into these people's bars and restaurants, a lot of times they're like, get the fuck out of here. They're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, it's a real exercise in control.
Yeah.
And there's lessons of sobriety every day because it's like, okay, I'm going to fight the battles I can. Keep myself straight by putting myself in situations where I'm set up for success. It's been really interesting. So they're not as far along as I thought in the bars.
Okay. So yeah, so definitely we're gonna circle back to that bit because I have a few questions.
Yeah.
But first I wanted to ask you, so you've been on the podcast before, but for those who never heard of you before, could you recap us what's your story, how you ended up in recovery?
Yeah, I'll give the Cliff's Notes version, but basically I didn't really start drinking until I had a couple drinks in high school, and I think I definitely blacked out the first time I drank, but neither here nor there. That was very normal. It was like not an option to not do that. But I didn't like drink on the weekends really consistently. I didn't think about it. And then I went to college, went to acting school, a lot of emotions, a lot of like emotional demand. And that was in 2011 when I graduated. I started drinking a lot, like every day after rehearsal. And the program was really rigorous. So worked really hard from like 10 a.m. to midnight. I also had a job on the side and I just loved alcohol and like the connection it gave me. And I loved saying yes. I loved being the one crazy bitch who would say yes to stuff, even if it wasn't good for me. And that kind of became my life after college. I kind of became a professional drinker and I'm really I just like followed wherever the next thrill was. I went to New York City, but couldn't really hack it. It's hard when you spend all your rent money on alcohol. It's hard to live here. It's expensive.
The city is expensive.
And I was always, and I was under the impression that like this was such an amazing city to have all your vices and like, it's actually, I mean, it is, but it'll like eat you alive. It's actually a better city to be sober in because you can do all that stuff and not want to kill yourself at the end. But anyway, I kind of bottomed out. I moved to Seattle in like 2016, pulled a geographic. I was still there. I was myself, so I couldn't outrun her. And when I started using like amphetamines really heavily, namely meth, I knew that wasn't me. I know we all say that at different times, but that was really something I never thought I would be doing a lot, and I was. So that was weird, mostly so I could drink longer, and more. And so I moved back home, went to Utah, got sober, and after like 90 days, like all the promises started coming true.
Oh, good.
Like no joke, like just all these opportunities. My head got so much clearer, and I had the opportunity to move back to New York City because of a job, an acting job, and a partner. And I thought I was just going to stay for 3 months and see how it was, but I stuck with sobriety. It wasn't perfect at first. I went back to cocaine and I was like, I'll just do amphetamines and no alcohol. That'll be awesome. And I ended up, so hilarious. I was like in AA meetings, yeeted out of my mind. Just like, I knew I needed to be there, but I couldn't fucking get it yet. It was like, it's so crazy to look back on, but I got to a point where I was still living with this same person, Sam, and I was using Coke the same way I was using alcohol. And I was like, oh, I'm about to lie to him. I cannot be with somebody who I'm lying to all the time. Like, I just knew it wasn't going to work. So I told him I was like secretly using Coke. He was like, that's fucking crazy. Cause he's like a normal person. So he was like, whoa, like it was really, I had surrounded myself with people that wouldn't surprise for so long. And he was like, no, that's pretty fucking surprising. And got back to meetings, got a sponsor, got really serious. And I've been sober from alcohol and hard drugs for 6 years.
6 years. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Especially in the city after coming back and stumbling one more time and then trying to figure out. And thank you for saying like sober from alcohol and hard drugs because you one of the few person I know who is Cali sober.
Yes.
Right? So before we you can
everyone's like turn this off. Throw it out the window. Who is
No,
this crazy girl?
But like, I wanted to know what was your mindset when you decided to try and smoke marijuana, because
Yeah,
you had it. Correct me if I'm wrong. You had basically the same mindset. When did you have the same mindset when you decided to only do coke and not alcohol to replace? Were you
right.
thinking? Were you looking for a substitute? That's my question.
Yeah. I think I wanted something that I could be like social and also that just like gave me I needed like social energy. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm an extrovert, but I like it takes a lot for me to like get out and get
Yeah.
amped up to go be social, and then I'm fine. But to be honest, like I only ever stopped smoking weed consciously for like a few weeks at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like so anxious and I was alone in Utah. I was hiking every day. That was my therapy. And I was like, I want to smoke weed and hike, and it's going to help me not drink. So I did it. And I was like, I just always knew that that first part of the AA 12 steps and traditions, I was like, is my life unmanageable?
Yeah.
And it never was.
Okay.
It never got unmanageable. And it still hasn't. And now I kind of, I'm not to say that like medication makes you not sober
Yeah.
or that I think it's like modern medicine is incredible. My very bipolar family benefits a lot from modern medicine. I think I benefit a lot from like mindful weed consumption. But yeah, I never really planned. My mindset was always harm reduction.
Okay. Yeah, I believe in harm reduction too. Yeah, but yeah, so like, how did you find out that like it was working for you?
Yeah.
Like, did you try different doses, or like, I don't know, how
Oh
does that
man.
work?
Yeah, I've never been a very exacting or organized person. I was sort of like,
That's lie.
yeah, man, I was just like I wouldn't use it to like I don't know, I didn't have a lot going on in early sobriety. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a job. I was literally just in Utah. I was in this beautiful place. So I was like, I'll hike, and I had a dog. Still have him. He's awesome. He's my family dog. But I didn't really experiment with doses. I think, man, I was just trying to make myself feel better, and it was just no alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, no alcohol. What else can I do? And obviously, that also led me to cocaine. Once I realized that was off the fucking table, I was like, anything but these things.
Yeah.
So I guess it was sort of a lot of bargaining,
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
that ended up just like working out for me.
Okay.
And it still hasn't been a problem. I do think about my weed use, but I'm always checking in.
So like, when you smoke, you basically smoke what, like daily, weekly? Do you get stoned, or just to
Oh, man,
calm like your
I mean,
anxiety?
I smoked like an hour ago.
I could not tell. I
Yeah,
could
it
not
doesn't
tell.
affect me like that.
Yeah.
I use not an hour ago. It was probably like at
Mm-hmm.
lunchtime. I probably use weed. Like I hit a vape pen like at a very low dose a couple times a day. And then I smoke flower at night. Or I put it in my drinks because there's
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of weed drinks
weed
now.
drinks. Yeah.
So I use like tinctures and stuff. I treat it like I think normal
Mm.
people treat cocktails, which
Okay.
is like, I'll have one here. Like, it's so weird. I feel like I'm normal with it,
Mm-hmm.
which I've never had an experience of with anything else.
Oh, interesting. So like, you think it brings you like to the normal baseline of who you are supposed to be,
I
right?
do. Yeah. I
Yeah.
find it makes, and I've always been in service. I don't want to promote it for anybody else. I'm
No,
not trying
like,
to convince
yeah,
people, but for
definitely. Yeah.
me, it
Just
makes
want.
me, yeah, really, I love talking to people when I'm smoking or like have had a little
Mm-hmm.
THC. Like I'm in service industry. I'm constantly talking and like being interested. It just makes New York City's crazy and vibrant and
Yeah.
beautiful. And it kind of centers me
Mm.
in like a way. That being said, like if I'm about to be on work calls all day, I don't smoke. If I have a big presentation or I'm about to meet people for the first time, I don't get high.
Yeah.
Like I know now, and then that's another thing that's new for me is
Mm-hmm.
like not wanting to be fucked up all the time.
Yeah.
But I also, because of sobriety, I have this big full life now.
Uh-huh.
Like you know how it is. You're like teaching now. Like
Yeah.
you can't just like get high or do drugs because there's like stuff you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you were definitely right on that. like the following up questions I have. So,
Yeah.
how do you what's your stance, or how do you react to the resistance, like, of like, because you're part of you just mentioned it earlier, you have a sponsor and stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
of the old
Yeah.
schooler of people, or like, people in AA who are like not too fond of the Cali sober idea.
Yeah, my sponsor and I have come a long way. She's 74. She's been sober as long as I've been alive.
Okay.
And longer. She's going to have 40 years of stone cold, old school, 12-step sobriety in mid-May.
Yes, 40 years of stone cold sobriety.
Thank you. I'm like can't focus sometimes. So they're like, stop smoking weed, Alex. She and I, when I first asked her to be my sponsor and I told her I was trying to quit coke, and I had heard her talk in a meeting like 6 years ago, she had a story similar to mine, and she started taking me through the steps, and I was like, I need you to know that I use weed sometimes. And she was like, whoa, hold the phone. You can't be in AA and like doing the steps and using weed. You like can't do it. And so we kind of didn't see each other for a while. And then, but we kept in touch. She still liked being my friend. And she saw that I kept going to meetings and like my life kept getting better and better. Like my business grew, my relationship grew, my life, my network, like everything just like it was like vibing. And I talked to her pretty openly about my weed use, and I think she could see that I wasn't like, I'm not like trying to get, when I sound so old, stone out all the time. I'm not trying to disconnect. I'm always trying to connect. So she said that, and she's sort of opened up to the idea that there's a lot of different kinds of sobriety. But that being said, I still see the value in AA and how like cutting it all out at the beginning, because you just got to know where the fuck you're at.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what's funny? In the big book, they even tell it that like there are not doctors, that if abstinence needs to be managed with prescription drugs and stuff, from like a psychiatrist or any other kind of doctor, that like, they condone that. And I don't know, I'm gonna asking you, do you think there's kind of double standard that SSRIs, for example, for people who are sober, it's okay, but smoking weed is not, like,
Yeah, I definitely know people that are like, I'm so sober, and then they pop like 4 Xanax just to like get on the subway. And I'm like, okay, like that's fine. If you're fine, like I have no idea what you feel you are when you are not sober. I'm sure it's fucking crazy too. But I do think, like weed gets a bad rap. I mean, I just saw it, and this is a whole other discussion, but basically dispensaries look like Apple stores now, and there's half our population is in prison because of this drug. So it's obviously a skewed perception across all of American culture. But I think it's also like stoner culture needs to shift. And I think if more people like me who are like super high functioning, like very, for all intents and purposes, I'm pretty straight laced. I'm not like super controversial person. Like I just use.
I couldn't even tell you're high. Like you smoke. Like
it's not. I don't know. Yeah.
It's not like the Ching and Chong old school.
No,
like,
man.
stone, like, like red eye.
No, it's not like that
anymore.
It's not. It's like, I mean, there are a lot of different strains and variations, and you can get all into that stuff too. And whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't even really care about that stuff. I never have. Even with my drinks, I don't. I just, I only do stuff that feels good. And allows me to connect more.
As long as, like you said, like it brings connection and not disconnect, like, and like, I commend you on that, because like I see it works for you, know.
Thanks.
Me personally, I was never a big weed smoker beforehand. So I didn't find the interest of picking up something, because like I was like, why am I picking up this? Am I thinking of a substitute? Like, like, and once I was like, oh, if I'm doing this, I'm going to try to substitute for something, then I was like, then this is not for me, because I didn't need it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
But like so let's go back to the other topic, which is the NA space. So like you said, you were like interviewed, or no, you were very busy in the month of January, but also you were interviewed, but you were on TV.
I
Good
was.
Morning America?
Oh my
No, which
God.
one?
CNN morning show.
CNN,
Yeah.
and Julianne Moore was.
Yes, she came
Oh my
through.
God.
That was the best.
Yeah, she
That
was in your store.
I cried after that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
as a fellow redheaded actor.
no, but like now I mean, it was real, but you are there in the space since when? Since the opening of the store 2020?
Gosh, no, actually. I didn't know about it until 2022.
Okay, so 2022 is still before like the wave became very popular.
Totally.
So
Totally.
you were there at the beginning of things. You see
Mhm.
the rise and the wave of like sober but yeah, so like what's your take? What's like your take on the movement? Like, like how do you see it? Like pros, cons, like
Such a cool question.
mm-hmm.
I see it as like the pendulum is definitely, it's like swinging extreme right now. I think it's definitely gonna fall somewhere in the middle. And by that, I mean, there's all these like sober bars and super sober spaces opening.
Yeah.
But that is a little far from the actual, when we're talking in like economic capitalist view of what this non-alcoholic beverage movement is. I don't think those places are gonna sustain in the long run because most of our customers at Spirited Away still drink alcohol.
Okay.
Most people, I think, don't have alcohol use disorder. It's like a small population of us that have this or are addictive. So most people that are interested in this stuff just want variation, and they don't if it's like me with meat. So if there's an Impossible Burger on the menu, I'll probably order that because I really like them. But if it's not there, then I'll get a burger. So I kind of think that in the next few years, we're going to see a lot of like low ABV options. Like people don't want to get hammered and on a martini at lunch, or they want to, but they're not anymore. They're doing, tea lunches and wellness meetings and low ABV wine, alcohol by volume for people that don't know.
Thank you for explaining.
Yeah, no problem. Drinkers sometimes don't. Just whatever's the strongest.
Yeah.
And I also think that there's going to be a lot of these like celebrity brands are probably going to fall away. Like it seems like kind of a money grab to me. I mean, it's cool. I think it's important for celebrities to talk about this stuff, but I don't know. A lot of it, I'm just like,
I have one in mind, like Barrow.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, I didn't try it yet, but
Me either.
The way he was on like those talk shows promoting it, like there's a lot of marketing behind that brand.
Totally. And then I just worry, like, I kind of worry about their sobriety.
Yeah.
Like, it's so tied into this like commercial thing, and they have so many. I really think it's not good to like get sober with like 1 million people watching you.
Yep. Definitely. I'm so glad you approached that. You brought that up because one of my questions was like, so we saw on IG and social media the pop-up of like those, many like sober like influencers that are popping up. I guess, am I wrong? I don't know.
You are kind of, but you're cool.
Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, now.
And you're not a white woman, frankly.
Last time I checked.
Please.
Oh my God. It was Michael Che that had his white woman called Gretchen on one of the SNL skit.
Yeah.
That skit was hilarious.
So good. Yeah. One of the only good ones lately, honestly.
Yeah, but like the resurgence of those Instagram profile. Sober IG, like they call it, sober peers.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna speak for myself, but you can give me your opinion, I value it. I feel like there's dubious intention when I see those pop up. Like it's so created of like, great moment. I'm having fun, not drinking, beautiful hiking. It's not like. It's almost as if sobriety became entirely their identity. That's all they are. Right?
Yes, that's huge.
And I'm like, no, like sobriety help you be who you
It
want to be.
uncovers.
It helps you be who you want to be. It's
Yeah.
not just that.
And a lot of
right?
times, it's a lot of the same stuff you were doing before, just like less messed up.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. You're right. It's like very product driven. And I
Mhm.
think for all of us listening or all of y'all listening, like early sobriety, like the first year or two, honestly, is not pretty.
Yeah.
It's prettier. It's
Yeah.
better, but it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know. There's a lot of like mess and confusion, and it's exciting and fun, but it's like all the same reasons that they tell you not to date anybody, really. It's
Yeah.
like you're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's so seductive because it feels, I think, really cool to be like cheered on.
Mhm.
From what I can see, I didn't start posting until I was a few years sober because I wanted to make sure this shit was gonna stick.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't
Yeah.
backtrack on this. And now I would never want to drink again, really. But yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I like it because I've seen like some of them at those like social events where they're like
yeah.
non-alcoholic, social events. And I'm like, do you think also it might be driven by money, financial reason, wanting to make money out of it?
Sponsorships, free stuff.
Yeah, being money. I think like the moment a person wants to make money out of their sobriety, they're corrupting that. Like there's a dark spot. Like they're corrupting their sobriety.
Yeah, well, because it's all about kind of handing it over to someone besides yourself. Money's pretty, like, a lot about control.
Yeah.
It's not really about surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Especially influencing is all about managing what stuff looks like. Yeah, it creeps me out, frankly. And then these people go off and monetize by leading retreats.
Yeah.
And like having groups. Groups are cool. I have a group. I don't have any certification. I'm having it in an hour. Come through. But I will not. I don't know. I won't charge you money for anything. That's for sure.
That's very interesting. I'm kind of not surprised, but feel like vindicted that like we share the same opinion on it.
100%,
like,
dude.
sometimes I'm like, and it's hard in those spaces where people want to do good or say that they do good, that you question their intention because like you're like, oh, what kind of person?
And then you're the grump. You're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Nah, I've kind of, at first I was super into engaging with it. So I was like, what is this? When I first started at Spirited Away, because we have a lot of crossover with these influencers. And then I got kind of burned by a few who didn't actually know how to have conversations. And like everything was very emotional still. Felt very pre-sobriety. And I was like, oh, you got too much attention. You got too many coins without doing all the work.
Yep.
And here we are. So now I just kind of keep my space and like watch them like aliens. Because I think one day they're just going to be quiet.
Yeah. But you still get approached a lot though. So like how you manage the flow of people. Okay, so now let's put your buyer hat on.
Okay.
Because there's so many.
It's a beret, actually.
It's a beret?
Oui. Stupid.
Okay, so let's put your buyer beret on.
Okay.
And so we have like all those brands that came in, non-alcoholic brands, the one for the celebrities and stuff. And you guys are very popular bottle shop here.
Yeah.
What are the do's and don'ts of a brand when they're supposed to approach you?
Right.
Yeah.
I would say like don't co-opt another culture's story. That's kind of weird to me. There have been a number of white people-led brands that are like, I don't know, they were really inspired by another culture, but they just sort of like, they were like, I love sorrel. And I'm like, that's like very Caribbean. Like, do you know the story? What's your connection? And the connection is just fandom. I'm like, do you need to make a drink? I come from like a sort of theatrical background. I'm like, what is the purpose for telling this story?
Yeah.
Because you are telling a story with your product. And if you have to make up the story or kind of take someone else's, it doesn't mean it's not a good product, but it makes me wonder. And then on the other side of that coin is, if the story is really good and there's like a cool connection that this person has, that makes a big difference to us because there are so many products now. And frankly, a lot of them are kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have like a cool perspective, that means a lot to people, consumers, and us.
Mm-hmm. I see. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
But we don't bring on celebrity brands unless they're like requested. Unfortunately or unfortunately, they are requested a lot because they have the money to market.
yeah.
So they kind of bring people in the door. But then a lot of times we redirect people to like, hey, look at this cool local small batch
Yeah.
version of that celebrity thing. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's a hit.
Interesting. So now let's put the the seller. That's still a beret?
No, the seller is like a baseball cap.
Okay, baseball cap.
Okay.
Okay. You're so funny. All right. So now you were talking earlier about the challenges of going to a bar, to a space, and they don't get quite the importance of having non-alcoholic options
Yeah.
on their menu. What's your approach? You show them the numbers, cool, play. This is like the movement. This is how
Totally.
it works. That's yeah.
Such a good question. I'm still figuring out. It depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes money talks, and you can be like, look, also, this movement has been going on at a much higher velocity to greater success in London, in like the UK. It's actually way more far along. So a lot of times I can be like, hey, look at these numbers from these well-known restaurants or whatever. They sell a hell of a lot of this. That helps. I also usually tell people it's not taking away from their alcohol business. It's just adding to their general business because people just sit and drink longer. It's not like they just don't have stuff because there's fewer alcoholic drinks. If a couple times people have been like, we don't do non-alc. And they say that to my face. And my company has told me, and this should be true for most people, if they say that, they don't get it. And there's a million other people in this city who do get it. And I should just move on.
Yeah.
But I'm a sober, stubborn little bitch. And so if someone has the nerve to say, oh, we don't do non-alc,
yeah.
I kind of double down. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like shaken. And I just, it hurts me. It hurts me because I don't feel seen. And I love when like people come into the store and feel seen. I just remember the first time I walked in and I was like, oh my God, I can have everything that I thought I could have in New York City. And I don't need to drink. I know it sounds maybe stupid, but that's how I felt.
Yeah.
I just felt like I could have it all back.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that drinks symbolize, right? Like the ritual, the connection, the party, the relief, the celebration, like I could get it all back. It's so weird. But so I try to say that to these dumb people.
No, yeah, you know what? They're gonna turn around when they're gonna start losing money, and that's kind of sad. Like you say, money controls, and
Yeah.
then y- if this is what it takes for them to get it,
Yeah.
and eventually change their mind on what this movement is, yeah, why not? You
Yeah,
know?
right. You have to learn some hard knocks just like everybody.
Yeah. Earlier you said, we said together, I guess one of us said that, sobriety helps you go through your life. Your life should not be sobriety. So like
Yeah.
for you, what's a well-balanced life in sobriety? So what is that you do that, maintain you sober?
Yeah. I always have a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to think of things in terms of like pie slices. So I always make sure I have at least like 5 slices to my pie. So if one slice goes bad, I got the other slices to lean on.
Yeah.
So I always try to have something creative going on.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean I had to be like picked or audition. I'll make it. There are so many cool people I have in my life now that will help me.
Wait, you make your own movies?
Yeah. I have a
Okay.
production company. We had a movie. Yeah, it's in film festivals right now.
Yo.
Yeah. It's
I
called
didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. I'll send you the movie. It's called
Okay.
Epinephrine. It's a short film my
Okay.
friend Crosby wrote. It's like experimental horror. It was really hard. We had to raise like $50,000. It took forever. But we did it and I
Yeah.
was really proud of it. I also have like a big dedication to my health and wellness. I said that I really like feeling good. Like I
Mhm.
mean it. Like all the money I used to spend on alcohol, I spend on like massages, facials, sauna.
Yes,
I don't have any
yes,
kids.
yes, yes, yes,
I am
yes,
my
yes.
own child. So
Yes, yes.
I do a lot of that, which like
Yeah.
brings me great joy. I get outside a lot.
Mhm.
I'm always going hiking, and I have I'm always trying to hang out with different people. And I think the biggest joy of sobriety has been making adult friendships.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so hard,
Yeah.
but like sobriety makes it so much easier.
Mm-hmm. And you went to the steps, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
cool. So
Oh
like
yeah.
that idea at the end of service, like,
Yeah.
yeah. So what's your idea of service when you're
Yeah.
out there?
I definitely always offer, like, I'm very open about my
Mm-hmm.
sobriety. I'm not an influencer, but
Mhm.
I will always direct people to meetings that helped
Mhm.
me in the city. I do Sober Sallies, which is a meeting about once a month at Spirited Away.
Yeah, that we're about to go to in a few minutes. Yeah.
Benny's been coming for a while. We used
Yeah.
to do it on Zoom during COVID, but it's more sober, curious spectrum. There's no program. We just talk about sobriety openly
Mm-hmm.
and difficulties and celebrations within it. And I really feel like I do sort of consider my work at Spirited Away like sort of like drunk person's karma. Like there are a lot of people who come in on the edge of
Mm-hmm.
something, and it's like showing them that there's options and that they can like still have a big fun life in the city and be sober. It feels really feels like service to me.
That's great. Like speaking of spirit, are you spiritual?
Yeah, I would say I'm very spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, in order to be sober, I'm a believer that you have to be
Yeah.
spiritually fit. Like religious is one thing, but spiritually fit, like having that concept of a higher power,
Yeah,
like
man.
like do you remember hmm, when like you got in touch with your higher power? Like you're like because I I think that it's hard to describe a higher power because the moment you describe it, you put limitation
Yes.
on what the higher power is.
Yes,
So
that's
that's
right.
why it's so confusing for people when it's like, I believe my higher power. They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
I call mine God. I believe in God. So
Yeah.
like, but there are moments like, do you remember moments of like serendipity that was like so profound? You're like, there's no way this is random.
Oh
Like,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, just like those things I talked about in early sobriety, like this I quit drinking, and then 30 days late I thought I had burned every bridge I ever had, and like a director out of nowhere hit me up and was like, "Do you want to be in this off-Broadway play?" Like
Mhm.
I don't know if that's God, but that was awesome.
So,
That was
yeah.
enough for me to start considering that maybe my actions and the universe and my
Yeah.
participation in my life were like connected. But early on, I just remember I didn't feel super connected to anything, and I was mad at Catholicism, which was how I was raised. So God was sort of annoying to me, but I would go in those rooms
Yeah.
and feel better.
Mhm.
So I knew that, like, I am so angry at people all the time, but I actually think it's because I love people.
Interesting.
Oh, that makes me upset. I think I just get, it's like how you're the most sensitive to people's behavior that reminds you of yours.
Yes.
I feel like like on a God level, that's how I am with
Mhm.
humanity. Like I'm so upset with us so often
Yeah.
because when we're good, we are so good. And I love like group therapy. I just like love groups being honest together.
Yes.
I feel like that is the solution. Every time my like normie fiance has a problem, I'm like, I bet there's a group for that. We should go talk about that in a group. It's great. Because immediately you don't feel alone.
Yeah.
And that's God,
Mhm.
I think. But it's hard for me to think of an exact moment. Do you have an exact moment?
Do you have I need to think about it. I know I do, like, but it's yeah, I need to think about it for a second.
Yeah.
But I know I feel it.
Me too.
Like, yeah.
I climbed a couple mountains in early sobriety
Yeah.
too, like in the first 6 months. And I had never been able to go outside without alcohol in my bag. And getting to like the top of a hard hike with just a water bottle and my dog,
Yeah.
that also felt profound.
Yeah, I believe that. So last series of questions before we close this up. So how you will guide somebody who is in early sobriety or trying to get sober and try to figure out. So we talk about like making sobriety your life is not the answer. You need to find your highest spirit. But I remember one time we had a discussion and you told me like the huge fan of Quickly.
Oh
So
yeah.
like
Yeah, I'm not.
so like who do you listen to? Where do you find your inspiration? Like
Yeah.
yeah. Why are you not a fan of Quit by the way? Quit is quitting literature. So any literature that's like help you quit basically
Yeah.
alcohol. Yeah.
There's great ones I've heard.
I've heard.
Tons of books of Sober Curious, Sober-ish. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a million. I think I'm just like weird. I don't like any content that feels too specific. Like
Oh, okay. I
I
got it.
like stuff that can be applied very generally. Like what's the other reading you do all the time?
Stoicism? Yeah.
Yes. I love that like stoicism can be applied to like a million things.
Oh, okay.
Quitlet it feels sort of trendy to me.
Oh.
Like maybe I can't, I should probably just read it. I don't know. I also just don't like people telling me what to do.
Yeah, they don't have to. I read a few. And some of them are like, duh. Some of them are like a moment. Oh, okay.
Totally.
I didn't think about this, like, yeah.
I listen to a fair amount of podcasts.
Yeah, and that's good.
I listen to a lot of meetings on YouTube, old school meetings. I always try to find people with more and different sobriety than me.
Oh, that's very different. That I never heard.
I collect people like that. I've got every age, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30,
Yeah.
20. And I often try to get them in the same room. And if I know sober people, I'm like, you're sober and you're sober. And I tell them, I out them right away to each other. Of course, I know them well enough to know that won't upset them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. I like just like that. And then in terms of advice, I try not to give advice unless people ask it
That's
of me.
great.
Mm-hmm. And then, I also always try to, I think maybe I used to try to help people, but I realize like people ask for help often. That's very early in their journey when they're actually going to start changing.
Yeah.
So I try to protect myself now and really only engage with people who like are really interested.
Do you have like sponsees? Did you ever had sponsees?
I don't have sponsees, but I have friends who have asked me like, can I message you about sobriety? I'm really trying not to drink right now. Kind of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll often like be their person, but I'm friends with a lot of people who AA scared off. But I love AA, so I try to kind of be the bridge.
Yeah. What do you think? What were the limitations? I don't know how AA is in the city since I live in Long Island. I went to only one meeting in the city. It was like different.
I mean, which one did you go to?
Sunday night. It was Upper West Side Sunday night in the church basement. I forgot the name.
I used to go to a bunch of Upper West Side, but I don't remember the names. I mean, the thing about New York City is, I think LA is like this too. If you can think of the group type, it's probably there. There's like trans theater men's AA. There's like retired like Jewish banker AA. Like there's so many subsets.
Yeah.
Kind of depends on the neighborhood, but I really think but a lot of them just went to like the first one they found.
And then,
it's full of, I mean, if you're like a young woman and you go to a room full of 50-year-old dudes who are in recovery, yeah, it's just going to be weird. Yeah. Like you're not going to feel like you're in the right spot. Representation is very important.
It's very important. Yeah, I remember like the first room I used to go to, which is a good room. I would recommend it for people who are like early, in sobriety, because they have a lot of people. The meeting is always quite full. It's daily, so it's great. You have a lot of people there.
That's cool.
They're very but there was an aspect of the thing that I didn't like was like the old timers were sitting in the front like mafia dons that you had to go shake the hands off.
Oh,
you
please,
don't even
guys.
know why. Like the question is like how much time you have right away. Like I'm like, yo, the guy doesn't even ask me for my name.
Right.
Man.
He won't even remember me. Like, come on.
Like that's It was like time was like the essential currency, and you could tell, like, so I stopped going to that group. I found my people too in another group that I think was more where crosstalk is allowed.
Oh,
Yeah, and still be
oh my.
civil. Yeah, civil. Which
Mm.
crosstalk in the AA group is like usually a no.
Yeah, people get yeah, they don't like it.
Yeah, they don't like it. But yeah, I found my people. But yeah, I guess this is what it is. Once people are scared off of one group, it's hard for them to find their.
Because you're already in such a vulnerable place and you like barely, personally, I could relate because it's like I'm mustering up everything I have to get out and get help. And then I get there and it's like, I don't know, either not what I expected or just I feel even more weird. Like I don't have the strength for that at the time.
Yeah.
So I recommend people do a lot of like online, like listening. Just try to hear themselves somewhere first.
All right. All right. So that was the last question. So
Wow.
we done it. Yeah. Thank
Done
you
did
very
it.
much, Alex, for being a guest on the podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you in a few weeks.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.